Hey everybody, we are back again with another episode of the Nintendo Pipeline Podcast. Today, we're going to be talking a lot about Kirby, but before we get into that, who do I got with me?
I'm Jared, and that's all you're getting today.
I'm James, and I love that little boy that sucks. That little
God.
pink man.
I guess I'm Clay in that case. So yeah, it's Kirby's 30th anniversary is coming up. Most of us in this call are older than Kirby, except for one child. And
When did Kirby come out?
30
years ago.
Oh, yeah, I'm not that.
Jesus.
30th anniversary. That's what we're doing here. Oh, I get it
Yeah.
now. I thought that was just a fun random number.
No,
Oh, man.
it does mean something.
I'm not
It's
going to
20
make it.
Is 25th the silver anniversary, right? That's what that is. What's the 30th?
I don't know. Let me see.
The
Yeah, I
musty
gotta-
anniversary.
Must. Thanks.
No, it's not like old. It's not crusty. It's just a little musty.
30th
worse.
is actually the Pearl.
The Pearl. Too bad this isn't another Pokemon episode.
Yeah, right?
Thank,
Well,
thank the
that'll-
heavens.
That'll be another 5 years before Pokemon's 30, I think. Isn't this... I think this
Yes,
is the 25th
it is-
anniversary year, right?
Yeah,
Pokemon
just
came
past
out
26.
like 1996 or something, or 97.
Yeah, it just passed 26 for Pokemon Day like a week or two ago.
Pokemon's
So-
been with me my entire life.
Pokemon has not been with me my entire life. Thank
Most
God.
of mine. Kirby's
I mean,
Kirby's
yeah.
been with me almost my entire
Yeah.
life.
Sonic and Kirby have both basically been with me my entire life.
Wow.
I didn't understand that first word you said, so we'll just move on.
That's just because you're too slow.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
So we've got a big game coming up. First of all, on top of an anniversary, Kirby and the Forgotten Land is out on March 25th, and we were lucky enough to get a pretty early demo for it recently that we've all played to completion. So I guess we can start with that. What did you guys think?
Pretty darn good, actually. I mean, we've all been waiting for a 3D, like a proper 3D Kirby game for a very long time. Very
Yeah.
long time. 30 years.
Yeah,
Well, maybe,
I was
maybe
waiting
not
for
30
one.
years.
Yeah, I was waiting for that.
Maybe more like 20, 25, what? 22 years? When did
Yeah.
Crystal Shards come out?
2000, I think.
Wow,
yeah.
that was a late game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
real late. That's how Kirby games actually are in a lot of like situations. They come out at like end of a console's lifespan. Like
Yeah.
Adventure was what 92, 91 or something crazy on the NES.
Yeah.
Late.
But no, this game is quite good. 93 actually.
Yeah, I was
That's
gonna say
really
93
late.
because
That's
Dreamland 1 was 92.
That's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a year before freaking Donkey Kong.
Yeah, that's well after
That's
the
that is
SNES launched.
Star Fox year.
My
That
God.
is the Star Fox year.
But yeah, it made the transition flawlessly as far as I can tell in this first
Yeah.
set of 3 levels.
Yeah.
I played Wild Style personally because I live on the edge. I just come off playing about 25 hours of Elden Ring.
Yeah, I was
So
gonna say
I-
I'm an Elden Ring player. So I'm a little bit of a pro gamer.
Yeah,
God.
I felt like I was, properly prepared to deal with Wild Style Kirby versus Spring Breeze mode Kirby.
Yeah,
But
so
they give you a decent chunk of levels to play. You get 3 of them. It's like the
Yep.
first set of levels up to the first like real boss.
yeah, kinda. You get the intro levels, then you get what appears to be like one of the first levels, and you get whatever the first boss is whenever that shows up.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, but there's a few more levels.
I think there's
in between
more
there.
stages in between. Yeah.
Oh, you think? I kind of just thought that'd be like the
Yeah.
first like introductory set of levels. and
Oh,
then-
I was gonna say that was like the end of the first world.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Interesting, because what I found interesting about it is I don't remember all of the trailer that was in the direct last month, but I feel like they let you play with all of the mouthful mode transformations that they showed in that trailer. Car,
Pretty much.
vending machine, and cone.
That might
Those
be
are
right.
Those were like, well, no, they showed. I guess they showed the glider one too, but
Yeah,
There's
they
some
showed that
there's
and
some
the
later ones we
ring.
saw, like the crane, yeah, like the raising platform one.
Yeah, the
okay, sure,
spring thing, and yeah.
But that wasn't, like you said, that was not the first presentation.
yeah. For the most part, they those levels let us play with the big mouthful mode transformations that they've shown so far, which I thought was interesting. That means I'm kind of expecting there to be a lot, like
Yeah.
a lot
Yeah.
of those transformations moving forward. So it's
I
kind
think
of
we'll
exciting.
we'll have at least a few per world. I think new ones.
Yeah.
But I'll go ahead. I've talked enough.
Oh, I was gonna
No.
say I really
Someone
like
else
the
have a
demo.
thought.
Yeah.
Do you want to go first, Clay?
The mouthful stuff was definitely more extensive in the demo than I thought it would be. I wasn't expecting for them to give us access to as many of those as they did. So in the demo, it's car, the traffic cone, and the vending machine, and then they also threw in dome Kirby, I think, or dome mouth, I think it's
Yeah.
called, where you pop off the lid. It's a very minor one.
Oh right, yeah.
But yeah, they're very cool. They work like we hoped they would. You can suck them in, suck up the mouth stuff while you have an ability, which is really nice.
That's really nice.
And I want to just real quick. Not only can you suck them up while you have the ability, but you keep the hat.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so when I got the car, I had just swallowed Poppy Bros Jr. And had bomb. So my Kirby was the car wearing the little Poppy Bro wizard hat.
That's great.
Yeah.
And that's just perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they all
It's
control
a car with a hat.
Yeah, and they're all distinct and they control very differently. Have different uses, obviously. The cone can usually is for puncturing something that has a crack in it. The vending machine kind of is just chaos because all of those cans that you spit out, unless they explode, turn into power ups like health pickups. They're very fun. They're very fun.
Yeah.
My one concern playing the demo is the concern I had from the beginning, which is if you don't use the mouthful stuff, I'm kind of worried that the levels are kind of empty because they're all very built around the mouthful
Mouthful mode
things.
solving puzzles, kind of.
Yeah, I'm more thinking in terms of replay, not first playthrough.
I was actually replaying some of the levels without using the mouthful mode things, and you can literally just walk through them.
Yeah, I mean, granted, they only gave us basically the intro in the first level. But
I think I don't expect these games to get hard, but I do Kirby games do get more complicated as they go on.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, the game is stage by stage closer to 3D World than something like Odyssey. I know for some reason people thought that it might be
I don't know why
free
they
roam,
thought that.
but yeah, it's individual stages. The camera can be manipulated with the right stick.
Barely.
Kind of, yeah. What I like about it is that you can interact with a lot of the silly little side objects. You can kick and inhale rocks and mess with the trash cans and
kicking cans is always fun in games.
yeah, there's lots of little stuff like that. And the other thing I really like that they hadn't really talked about, but we found out in this demo is that each stage has some number of missions. Besides, clearing it.
Like bloom X number of flowers or something.
Yeah. So, some of them are things that you're probably going to do anyway. I think one of them is ride, you have to you ride the burst of water somewhere in the level using the cone. So it's not they're hard. But there's hidden Waddle Dees and missions, and it kind of adds to the fullness of the stage, I think.
Yeah,
the stage itself was fairly
a little more
long.
replay value.
Yeah. I missed that one of those tulips 3 times. I was so annoyed at
Did
myself.
you say was long or wasn't long?
I felt that the stage was pretty decently long for a Kirby stage.
The second stage is a pretty good size.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
That's more the standard because the first intro stage is very quick and the boss stage is very quick.
Yeah, those are
the second one does feel like a full level. There's even a load screen in the middle.
I mean, I would say the whole demo. I actually streamed it right before we started recording this. Probably took about 20 minutes to finish, give or take.
Yeah.
That's pretty good for 3 Kirby
Yeah.
levels, as far as length goes.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to like quantify it in actual minutes.
Yeah.
I liked that there's an option in the menu called auto swallow. I thought
Yep.
that was
Yes.
that is both very funny and also very effective.
Yeah, I needed like when I first started the demo, I'm like, oh my god, please have like, I really wanted that option, and I was glad it was in there.
I think the more important option was the other one, which is Control Type B, which lets you use the B button to jump
Yep,
and the
I
Y
switched to
button
both
to
of
eat.
those.
Oh yeah, swap those. The music is like really
Yes.
really good.
Mm-hmm.
Not that Kirby ever. I'm sure we'll get to we'll have a part of this show where we dote on Jun Ishikawa and crew. Because Kirby soundtracks always knock it out of the park, and this is no exception.
What was your favorite track from the demo, each of you?
The second level's theme.
Yeah, I was gonna say that one too. The one it's like do 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 do.
The one that sounds like it's the main theme, pretty much.
Yeah, I think it's the theme they play in trailers, but that song is really good.
My favorite was actually the battle arena music, not the boss music, but like when you get into an arena and like enemies pop up to attack you.
That one's good too.
That one's very jazzy and good.
They didn't seem like move the copy abilities had a move list anywhere.
No, that was weird. I was looking for that.
And that's strange for a Kirby game. I don't know if they simplified it for.
I think I do think it's a little bit simplified, but
because I know a lot of Kirby games in recent memory are basically just Smash Brothers like controls. You know, like because Smash Brothers was born from Kirby, like the original was, so it's not that crazy to think about. But I was already pretty optimistic about this game. And now I'm extremely it was just a joy to play. I thought Kirby felt good. I thought Kirby moved at a decent pace. I thought Kirby, you don't have to dash. He automatically dashes.
Yeah,
which I think
is analog stick.
Which I think is important for a 3D game.
Yeah.
Everything fluidly moves into each other. The frame rate is rock solid. It looks really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I thought it was. Oh, go ahead.
I think that the 3D world style is the right call.
Yeah.
Especially for a first try. Like, for a first go at making Kirby in 3D, I think that taking a more limited approach and making it more of a 3D world top-down diorama style game is probably a safer and more intelligent bet than trying to make something like Mario 64 or Odyssey with Kirby.
Did either of you play Kirby's Blowout Blast on 3DS eShop? Or the minigame in Robobot?
I played the minigame in Robobot, yeah.
Robobot is one of the very few Kirby games I have not played.
So, Blowout Blast, you can definitely see like where they started with Blowout Blast and kind of upped it from there, in my opinion. Blowout Blast is more of a puzzle game that plays out in 3D, where you're trying to get like coins and like score multipliers by like spitting enemies into like groups and stuff like that. And what's interesting in that game is that it's usually isometric, sometimes top down, and when you have something in your mouth in that game, you actually get an arrow that shows where Kirby's going to spit it out. In this game, you do not. However, when you spit stuff out, it will like slightly home in on stuff. So if you spit it somewhere and you're like pretty close, it'll adjust itself. Move. Yeah. I found that a little bit annoying at first in the demo. It was aiming what I was trying to spit at enemies. Like it took me a bit to get used to it at certain angles. But the abilities I wanted to talk about because I was kind of curious what route they were going to go with them in this game. Kirby Battle Royale on the 3DS has a similar. It is 3D in the sense that it's like, it's not on a 2D plane. It's like a top-down isometric sort of thing. And in that game, you have a weak attack and you have a strong attack for abilities. But in this game, They did not do that. There is just a single attack button for abilities, and they definitely feel a bit simplified, especially compared to like previous 2D Kirby's. I know we talked about there's no like move list on the pause menu, but for the most part, you have, the ability has an attack, and then if you hold the button while standing still, it either has a charge attack or like you can aim like the bomb or whatever. And when you're running, or if you slide and press, the button, it may have like a slide attack and an aerial attack, but it doesn't have a lot of the permutations so far that the
There's
previous
no like
ones
smash
did.
attacks like Kid Icarus
Yeah,
has, or
there's
smash.
no like, oh, hold up and press this for a different attack, hold down and press this. Obviously that's not going to work in
But you
3D,
also don't
but
have like you don't have like a dash like you do in
yeah.
other Kirby's. Like if you double tap a direction,
Yeah.
it doesn't make you move separately than if you just hold it.
Yeah, like because yeah, I mean they did it so that it's natural with an analog stick, and you're not typically going to have that kind of a thing going on. And it's kind of hard to do that in 3D anyway, but I was kind of surprised they didn't have like a thing where like if you spin the control stick and hit a button that might do something, or
Oh, spin attack.
if you jumped in the air and like pressed the guard button in the air and another button or something, like it's
yeah,
pretty
or
simple.
like a ground pound. I'm
It's
glad the slide's
pretty
still
simple.
in there.
The slide is still in there and the dodge is still
I'm
in
really
there.
happy. There's a dodge.
Well, there's a guard and a dodge.
I know what the guard is. What's the
So
dodge?
if you push a direction, I think horizontal or vertical while guarding, Kirby does this like dodge maneuver. It's either a front flip or whatever. And I didn't even encounter this because I didn't mess with it. But if you're like about to get hit by an attack and you dodge, it does like this slow-mo thing.
Oh, Witch Time?
Are you fucking serious? I didn't even realize that.
Kirby has Witch
Yeah.
Time in it?
Kirby, yeah, I mean, it's apparently, I think people were using it on the boss. That's where people noticed it. I did not. That's
wow.
how, usually I try every button and combination, so I'm kind of surprised that I did not attempt that. But the main thing is, yeah, the abilities feel like they have less moves in them, at least initially, because a big part of this game is upgrading your moves, and the demo surprisingly let us try out upgraded versions of all the abilities that were in the demo, and they do add some nuance. Like with Ice Kirby, usually you would just breathe ice, and then if you double tap the button, you go into like the freeze state. But upgraded Ice, if you hold the button to shoot out ice, he makes little snowmen that you can then like kick into other stuff. Or like the sword is different enough from the normal sword where it's slower and
It's a
heavier
great
and has
sword.
a different combo. Yeah. The bombs actually is a particularly interesting one where you get the chain bomb. At first I'm like, oh, why is this exactly the same? And then if you throw several bombs next to each other, they kind of get tethered together. And once you have enough of them, or like once the enemy makes contact and you have enough of them, they all blow up and have like this area of effect kind of explosion, which is neat. So I think that's what we're going to see in terms of like the move getting more complex as opposed to like the base form of the move, which is probably pretty simple.
Yeah. But I
Cutter
still
was
think it
fun.
works well enough in 3D.
Yeah.
Like it's not Bayonetta. It's despite having
No,
Witch Time,
no.
but it's fun
Yeah.
and it's cute.
It
Time-
doesn't need to be banned.
No.
Yeah. Time will tell in terms of how the abilities feel and the upgrades and stuff. I still feel like I might have preferred them to go the Battle Royale route where they have a second button for some of these, but excuse me, but for
I think
now,
a dash attack could have worked like Kid Icarus. I think that would have been cool.
Yeah, it's weird. So like I think the ability that felt weirdest to me was Bomb out of all of them, because you're running and you throw the bomb and so he bomb rolls, but the bombs in this game are very resistant to exploding.
Yeah.
You throw a lot of them and they're just like sitting there and they take forever to detonate. But if they hit an enemy or something like that, they will blow up instantly. And it was kind of weird because like they also don't go as far as you think they would go when you throw them too. At least in my personal experience, I was like, oh, that like kind of went nowhere. I don't know if you can still drop a bomb in place, like if you hold guard and drop a bomb, maybe press the button, maybe the bomb will drop in place, but it's pretty much like you roll bombs, and then you can stand still and then throw the bomb with like an indicator cursor, and that was kind of all there was to it. So I don't know. That's probably the thing I'm most iffy on right now.
It's obvious that the best way to beat enemies is to suck in stars and spit them back out at them.
Yeah,
as
the
it's always
boss.
been.
Yeah. Oh, it's always so much faster for bosses.
The boss in the demo in particular, I felt was like, it was even more like in previous recent Kirby games, like you could kill a boss or plow through a boss with an ability. This game, it's like you attack the boss with an ability, and he like loses like nothing. But if you like suck a star and spit it at him, it's like, you know.
So the way to damage the boss is to use ice.
Yeah.
And like in Elden Ring, if you build up enough ice damage, it does like a big chunk of damage to him.
That's how I beat him too. I took ice because it was the only one of those 3 that they offered you that I hadn't used yet.
Yeah.
So I was like, I guess I'm rolling ice. Yeah. I also wanted to see Kirby Ice Skate. Sue me.
Yeah.
And he ice skates. It's great.
Yeah. I used ice at first, and I didn't figure out the thing where you can freeze him. And I was like, this is really annoying. So I threw away ice and just started sucking stuff in and spitting it back at him. But I came back later with ice again, and noticed the freezing thing, which I thought was fun. The boss is fun. The bosses in this game, like the big bosses, are very different from a traditional Kirby boss in terms of their like character designs. They're very wacky.
That gorilla was thick.
Yeah, he looked like he was out of Jungle Beat. Like,
I think it's kind of cool that we're not seeing like the same bosses again. Like, even though I'd love to see like Wispy Woods and like the Cloud guy in 3D.
There
it's
is
cool to see new people.
Zero chance that you Wispy Woods is not in this game.
Yeah, they've already shown him in like trailers.
I was gonna say I will literally put money down right now that Wispy Woods is in this game.
Yeah,
and I didn't know that.
Yeah, and like, there's that cheetah one. I know everyone's been talking about the cheetah one because she's like, I don't know. She's very weird for a Kirby. She looks like.
Say it. Say what you're gonna say.
Please don't say hot. I know it's.
She's not hot. She's not hot. I stand firmly in this belief that she is not hot. But she's like kind of like thinner, and she has like, I guess she technically has boobs, and it's like weird. It's like a weird.
Okay, I'm looking at a picture of her right now. She does not have boobs.
Well, whatever. I can barely remember what she looks like.
Okay, I'm just for the sake of, I mean, everybody just Google cheetah anime Kirby if you're listening to this and need to know. I'm gonna post this for the people that are currently talking.
Oh, right. That's what she looks like.
Those are not boobs.
Yeah, she does not have boobs.
That is just a tough defer, but she does have those hourglass hips.
Like extreme hourglass.
She be kind of looking like a Metacham from Pokemon, which might not hit for either of you, but people listening.
I was gonna say she looks like Rouge the Bat.
Yeah, she kind of does look Rouge to me. She gives me very Rouge vibes, especially with the eyes.
That's a Sonic character for people who are.
Yeah, for people in here who don't like Sonic.
Just for the sake of you two non-Pokemon fans, here's a Metacham for you.
Yeah, that's fair.
I want to say a general thing about Kirby. I think this is the most excited I've been for a Kirby game. Like, the most interesting I found a Kirby game. That's my phone. I'm sorry. Someone's saying it's buzzing. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'll move it. I'll move it, Clay. No, thank you for calling that out. No, I think this is the most exciting Kirby's been since, I would say, Crystal Shards. Like, they're doing things that are new and exciting. And I feel like Kirby has never been bad, but for me it has gotten stale as I accept that they're games for like a younger audience, and like that doesn't always have to be for me, and that's totally fair, but I'm excited that this is something different and that it is drawing me in.
A lot of the things for me with Kirby is I accept that they're relatively easy campaigns. It's almost for me, it's like buying a 4 to 5 hour game almost specifically because I want to listen to the music. And that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but that's almost how I look at it. It's like, I'm just gonna play it's like people that buy, AAA first-person games to just experience the story.
Yeah.
I'm there for the visual aesthetic, the music, and then once you finish that like 4-hour campaign, I'm there for the Coliseum. And I'm really excited to see how like the arena Coliseum stuff plays out in this game. I bet it'll be really fun, especially with the upgraded copy abilities that are on offer.
Yeah, and especially with like the traditional side modes that Kirby has. It's interesting when you have typically when you have a major new Kirby game, you have smaller sub games. That was the case of like Return to Dreamland and like Star Allies. This game too has like simpler sub games where it's like, you know, just kind of like mini games as opposed to full on side modes. But there's always the arena. Hopefully there's something like what some of the recent ones have done where like you play through the game again but with like a special character with like special powers, or
like a Meta Knight mode. That'd be cool.
yeah, or like DDD or
I definitely
whatever.
wouldn't be surprised if we would have like an unlockable Meta Knight mode.
Yeah. So that's cool. And just a quick note, that cheetah thing, does anyone remember that weird boss in Bomberman Hero with the whip? She's like,
No.
I think it's like there's twins, like it's Nadia or something, I don't know. It looks like that. It looks like that. If anyone specifically knows what I'm talking about, you get a cookie, I guess.
I mean, I just looked it up, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say that this is far more an attempt at a sexy cat than that.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely more overtly like sexy, but something about like their body structure and face, it just like.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously it's a cheetah, but like I don't know. That's what it made me think of.
Bomberman Hero rules. Let's talk about Bomberman Hero.
This cat is like, she looks like she's heading out to the club.
Yeah.
And by
I don't
the
even know
club,
what to look up. Nadia from Bomberman Hero.
I mean the strip club.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
Kirby's back.
Yeah, you know, I think things are looking very promising here. The upgraded abilities thing is great. I love that we're going to be developing like a town.
Yes, I was going to say
has
that.
like
The
a
town
shop.
is so cute.
Yeah, like a shop and like mini games and like
What kind of mini games have we seen so far?
So there's one where you, I think we've seen them all actually. There's one where you are using, you're rolling through a like tilt maze, like kind of like a marble maze.
Yes, that one looked amazing. Yeah.
There's the fishing mini game, and then there's
fishing.
the one where you work part time at the shop and like give characters the like food that they want.
I love fishing and I love mazes, but I don't like working retail.
Some of them, I guess, are co-op. Some of them aren't. I'm guessing the rolling one is not co-op, but like the fishing and the part-time job one are. There's the shop where you get where you upgrade your powers, and the way you do that is with coins and other materials, and you have to find like blueprints that are hidden in the stages to learn the recipe for upgrading the ability. So there's more hidden pickups like that too. And
those all sound really fun.
Kirby's house is in the
Even the job
town.
one.
You get different facilities by rescuing like different numbers of Waddle Dees. So it kind of all your progress sort of builds back into the town, which I think is super neat. But yeah, we'll all know in a few weeks. But this game's pretty special not only because it's the first 3D mainline Kirby, but because of, as we mentioned, it is Kirby's 30th anniversary. And for, I think, all of us, Kirby's kind of been around our entire lives. So I'm kind of curious, what are some of your guys' favorite Kirby games? Kirby memories, all that fun stuff. We'll start with Jared.
Yeah, so I might have told this story on the podcast already, but so I'll just give like a condensed version of it. That Kirby's Dreamland was one of the first games I ever played on the Game Boy Pocket. Like my parents, like they got a Game Boy Color for my older sister, and they were like, we'll get him like the older version, because like we don't know if he'll be able to play it yet. He's like 4 years old, so like he might not be able to like do this. And like I just like caught on to it like immediately, and like shocked like everybody.
Oh no, our son's a gamer.
Oh, he's a gamer. They didn't know that was a bad thing back then.
Oh yeah, we know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that game was
Kirby
my first Kirby game as well. I had my big fat green Game Boy brick, and I played Dreamland 1 a lot.
I was actually a little late to Dreamland. I actually pretty sure I played Adventure first.
Hmm.
Dreamland is fun though because you can beat it in like 35 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
Those
fun
Game Boy
little.
games are so quick. Those early ones.
Well, even Dreamland 2 is like at least a few hours long, but Dreamland 1 is like you sit down and like 30 minutes later credits are rolling.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's so short that it's literally a mini game in a later Kirby game.
Right, yeah, exactly. And the funny thing about it is it doesn't even have copy abilities like
Yeah.
Kirby.
Yeah.
I mean, and then there's some fun lore behind Dreamland though, like how
Yeah.
Miyamoto wanted him to be yellow, and Sakurai was like, "Shut up, idiot! He's pink," and hashtag Sakurai was right. But then he's
Yeah.
white on the box
Yeah, on the
because the
cover.
Game Boy's black and white, and I guess Nintendo of America had no idea what was going on or something.
Yeah. It's an interesting little. He was Twinkle Popo
Twinkle
for
Popo.
a bit there too.
Right. So,
Very cute.
Jared, would you say that Dreamland is like your favorite, or just you have
No,
that like nice?
not at
memory?
all. I do love. I think Dreamland 2 is fantastic, but 1 is just a little too basic.
Dreamland 2 is great because it introduces Rick.
Yes.
Yeah, Rick. I love Rick. I love like the intros to like the stages are so cute. I like the intros
Yeah.
to the world.
The little vignettes that play when you enter a world are fun.
And like that game has really nice music too. I remember like it's pleasant walking around like those like little hub areas.
Yeah. That Dreamland 2 is the beginning of the Dark Matter trilogy.
Yes, it is. And the only of the Dark Matter trilogy that Sakurai worked on, right?
Nope.
What
Didn't even work on Dreamland 2.
He didn't touch Dreamland
That was
2?
that is a different team.
Oh,
Yeah.
my bad. My
Yeah.
mistake.
Yeah, Sakurai's main Kirby games, outside of like maybe any advisory role, are Dreamland 1, Adventure, Superstar, and Kirby Air Ride.
Right.
Wow.
I knew
That's
those.
I know
That's
he
not
had
that many.
input on Nightmare and Dreamland since it's a remake, but yeah.
I'll let everyone else say their things before I'll say my favorite Kirby game.
To be honest, I think my favorite Kirby memory is actually relatively recent, and it was doing not Triple Deluxe. I'm sorry, Star Allies, the top difficulty,
Yes.
spicy pepper arena.
Yeah, Soul Eater. Is that what
Soul
it's called?
Eater,
Soul
yeah.
Melter.
Soul Melter
Mel-
EX, I think.
Yeah, I still haven't
do it-
done that.
Doing that co-op with a friend of mine, and we it was just a lot of fun. It was still really hard.
Yeah.
We died a few times going through it, and just that cycle of boss fights, especially once you get to the end, and you
Yeah.
have to fight through all the nuns and all of the.
The nuns.
That's what they are. What?
Yeah. Yeah.
And what's in the crazy Pope guy, and then you
Yeah.
have to fight the giant space monster, and then you go in the space monster. You're the final bosses, but
Yeah.
doing that all back to back to back to back with like basic copy abilities,
Mm-hmm.
pretty difficult. And that's actually probably my favorite Kirby memory. Was just going through that with a friend, and we're just having a blast the whole time. I know that game is kind of divisive with people, and I think it's less because it's a real disappointment as a Kirby game, and more that it came out in 2018 on the Switch when everybody was like expecting everything that came out on the Switch to be like Breath of the Wild level, you know.
Yeah.
Or like Odyssey level in terms of Mario Odyssey levels in terms of like making a grander video game or like reinventing a formula with each series.
Yeah.
But I had a lot of fun with Star Allies and especially co-op that mode.
Yeah.
Very
I did,
good.
I did too. I think, yeah, a lot of the criticism is levied at the game's length, which is a little bit shorter than you might think it would be.
Was like 4 or 5 hours.
It's a little shorter than some of the other ones.
Can I say something real quick about that concept?
Yeah.
People like us especially for me, and I guess maybe I don't know about you guys. 5 hours is actually a pretty long time
Yeah, for me it is.
for a video game. For any form of entertainment, let me put it that way.
Yeah.
Yes, there are crazy people like me who bought Kirby or even something like Super Mario Odyssey and 100%ed it in a weekend. That's not
Yeah.
normal.
Yeah.
People complaining about the length of a Kirby game being like 5 to 6 hours, like, you're the weird one. A 5 to 6 hour Kirby game is going to last a normal person like a week and a half. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
I guess it's kind of in comparison. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't played Star Allies, but if it is like noticeably shorter than other Kirby games, then that might be like
I don't think
Yeah.
it
going
is
with like
the
an
thing.
expectation.
I personally think it is a bit shorter than some of the more recent ones. Like anything from like Returns on Star Allies is definitely the shortest of those.
But not by
But
a significant margin.
uh, I mean, not super significant. But I think it's enough that it's noticeable. That being said, that game's extra content and free content beefs up the package very significantly.
I've heard that all that stuff makes it a lot better.
It is
Yeah.
true that extra content is like crazy.
Yeah, they went nuts with the extra content in that game.
And
which
the playable
was joy.
characters.
Yeah, all the Dream Friends pretty much representing every, like, almost, most Kirby games. The guest star mode, which is pretty much like that game's version of the Meta Knight or DDD mode. And then they went and added one final mode, which was Heroes of Another Dimension, which is basically a small, like, mini campaign in and of itself. And all the bosses have different permutations and stuff, so I think in the end that game it's pretty beefed up with the content, and it has a couple like mini games too, like the sub games. I think probably one of my favorite Kirby games and Kirby memories, a more recent one, would probably be Kirby's Return to Dreamland on Wii. I waited so long for another normal 2D Kirby game on console, and no, I'm not talking about Epic Yarn. It's a fun little thing in of itself, but it's not a traditional Kirby game. It's not the same.
It has the best version of butter building, though.
It does have a very good version of butter building, but I remember I was very excited for it, and everybody was pooping on it at the time because it wasn't like high art like Epic Yarn or something stupid like that. That game is a joy. So that game, Superstar is probably my favorite Kirby game of all time. I love that game style of like little stories and like the abilities being kind of like buffed up into what are basically Smash Bros. Inputs in that game. I mean, Kirby Superstar is the basis for Smash Bros. To begin with. Return to Dreamland feels like the next evolution of 2D Kirby, where all of the abilities have been radically changed and evolved and tweaked again. Everything has gotten new moves. Even stuff like the rock ability has like, you can like do a mega rock, or you can like use a rock fist to like punch an opponent. They combine plasma and spark into this like thing. Tornado came back, and like you can shoot like tornadoes upwards and stuff, and like there's all kinds of crazy stuff going on with what they added in that game to previous abilities, on top of like the new abilities that they added, which were also very fun. That game's campaign, I hate that I say the word campaign now. That game single player is really fun. It starts off a little bit tepid in the sense that it's almost too easy for a teeny bit, but it picks up very quickly. And the 4 player is great, the bosses are great, and all the new like lore and worlds and crazy stuff that happens in that game is just an absolute blast.
I would say
to play through.
the 4 player goes a little bit beyond great, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I would say that the 4 player is the best side-scrolling platformer cooperative 4 player mode of that era.
Wow.
The best multiplayer cooperative 2 player, or like 2D platformer. Like, it's better than New Super Mario Brothers Wii in that respect. I'm not saying that Return to Dreamland is a better game than New Super Mario Brothers Wii, though I might believe that if I gave it more thought. I'd have to think about it. But as a multiplayer game, you don't feel like you're getting in each other's way all the time.
Yeah.
You do bounce off of each other, but it's way less lethal than in Mario Brothers Wii.
It is much less lethal.
It makes more sense as a multiplayer, like a simultaneous multiplayer game than Donkey Kong Country Returns did.
Yeah. That game is not meant for multiplayer.
It made the concept make sense to me. I didn't have fun playing New Super Mario Brothers Wii as a multiplayer game.
New Super Mario Brothers I did. Donkey Kong is just like too hard.
Let me rephrase that. I didn't have traditional Mario fun playing New Super Mario Brothers Wii as multiplayer. It was like a different mode. You know, it was like a different thing altogether. I actually think Return to Dreamland is a better game with 4 players.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I didn't really get to play too much co-op in Return to Dreamland. It's very much the perfect evolution of Superstar, in that sense, where it's a little less reliant on player one, which is nice. I mean, I think you still all die if player one dies, but besides that, like, it's not like player one has to push the button to, turn you into a character. Like, you can pop in, pop out. It's very convenient. I personally enjoy the New Super Mario Bros. Wii style of chaotic multiplayer more, but I think as a Kirby multiplayer, it is definitely like the proper evolution of how Superstar and even Dreamland 3 did that concept, and it's helped in part because not only can you be Kirby or Gooey or a Kirby copy enemy. In this game, you get to be either Kirby or you can be Meta Knight, King Dedede, or Bandana Waddle Dee, and they all have their unique, their versions of their powers, which is super cool.
Especially Waddle Dee, since his basically brand new.
Yeah, he's one of the game's new powers is Spear, and Bandana Waddle Dee uses Spear as his thing, and he uses it in this game coming up too, because he's the co-op character in Forgotten Land. So,
and this game, Return to Dreamland, is also the reason that there are like 35 extremely rabid Smash Brothers fans that want Bandana Waddle Dee in the roster.
That's true.
To be honest, I think he should be. I think Bandana Waddle Dee would be not only a cute, like, extra Kirby rep that I think Kirby has earned. If Fire Emblem can have 10 characters, Kirby can. Yeah. And I think his moveset would be unique as hell. The stabby stabs, and he already has the helicopter recovery.
Stabby stabs.
It's a good idea. They should have done it.
Because Spear can poke, does that little flurry combo. You can chuck them, and then you can charge up and do the helicopter thing.
Like I said, he's got the pokey poke.
Yeah, the pokey poke. He has the doesn't he have the can't remember if he has the pogo stick or not.
I can't remember either. But
I know
if he doesn't.
I know you can use the spear in the air downward. I just can't remember if you bounce with it or not. That might have been Staff. Yeah. Staff got the bounce. That's what it was. Staff got added in Robobot, and that one you can bounce.
I would like to play Return to Dreamland. That's one of the ones I have not even touched that one at all.
It's really good. Yeah. To me, it ushered in the new generation of Kirby. Like, if you split Kirby by era, right? Like, you have the Kirby games leading up to Superstar as, like, the first kind of set of Kirby games where you have copy abilities that have, like, one move each, and the game structure is kind of, set the way it is. You get to Superstar, and the copy ability system really evolves. And, even though not all of the games after it use that structure, it's definitely, like, a very popularized structure. Yeah. Like, the Game Boy Advance ones use the structure. Even Kirby 64, even though it doesn't use the structure, it has, like, the ability copying or doubling. So, you have stuff like that. And then Return to Dreamland, I think, ushers in that next era of Kirby, both in terms of its copy abilities and its lore and worlds and like the direction
Yeah, and
that
the
it
general
goes in.
aesthetic. It's very
Yeah.
obvious that Return to Dreamland is the template for Triple Deluxe and Robobot.
It definitely looks similar to those ones.
And
I've played both
Star
of those.
Allies.
Yeah, like, and I feel like, and they've kind of said themselves that Star Allies was sort of the end of that era of Kirby, and now
Obviously, yeah.
yeah,
Oh, wow.
and Forgotten Land is now the next, the indicator of the next
exciting.
era of Kirby.
I mean, like it's always sad for some people, like when traditionally 2D series go 3D.
Yeah,
But I think if done well, it can be very exciting, especially since there's been like so many years.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful they can still do both. I think they're both different enough that.
Yeah, I'm not
I
saying
did-
there's never
yeah,
going to be another
yeah.
2D Kirby game again.
Yeah.
But there's
But
been
this is
literally
like-
30 years of 2D Kirby
Yeah.
games. That's
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
This is probably the longest holdout
Yeah.
Yeah.
of like the bigger video game franchises that have been around for a long time. I guess,
Yeah.
like, I mean, Donkey Kong, I guess, tried it once and then ran
Yeah,
away.
Donkey Kong,
But-
like, at least I attempted it.
Give Donkey Kong another shot.
No.
I wanted to.
Yeah, what was your...
My favorite Kirby game is the Crystal Shards.
Mm-hmm.
I know, like, there's definitely some. It's not perfect. Like, the copy abilities are a lot simpler. It kind of goes back to, like, the copy abilities kind of have, like, one or two moves. But the combining powers was just such a cool thing.
Well, yeah, I
Yeah.
think that you needed the simplicity to
Yeah.
have the
Yeah.
ability to, like, combine them and become
Like,
Darth Maul Kirby.
It's so cool. Yeah, like, stuff like that is so cool. I love just, like, the atmosphere of those games. It's just, like, certain levels. Like, the Toy Factory music is, like, amazing. Like, that
Yeah.
soundtrack is...
Yeah.
I think that's the best soundtrack in a Kirby game.
That soundtrack
It's
is incredible.
Astounding music.
I don't know if I agree with that, but the Zero Two theme is, like, iconic as hell.
Factory Inspection, for me, is...
Yeah, the factory one's so good.
and the boss themes and stuff are very good. I
have
like
a-
Fireworks Kirby.
I have a non-traditional favorite Kirby soundtrack, I think.
Yeah.
Go for
I'll
it.
talk. Okay, I'll say it right now. Dreamland 3, Ripplefield 1, Grassland 4, amazing songs. Just like the Super Nintendo sound trip is already like goated, like easily like some of the
Yeah.
best like electronic video game sounds, beeps, boops. But Ripplefield and Grassland 4, is it Grassland? Man, it's been a minute.
Yeah, it's something like that.
The structures of those songs are so experimental and so weird and so not like anything they ever did like moving forward on Kirby, and they're just
I should
so
give those
perfect.
a listen. I need to play more of that game. I like it. Like, I have nothing against Dreamland 3. I just, like, haven't gotten through that one either.
I get it. It's a weird game, and
It's just a little bit slower.
you see, yeah, it's slower and it's weird because you got to figure out those kind of obtuse puzzles.
Yeah.
Some of them are pretty easy. Some of them are a little weird.
Others are like what? That's what it was.
Samus is in it though, and that's cool.
That's
and
true.
you have to kill a Metroid with ice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That is very cool.
Like, that's such a cool throwback.
I think in regards to 64,
Oh, yeah, 64.
hopefully we'll see that on NSO soon next month for the anniversary. But
Yeah, I would love to play that game again.
the mini games in Kirby 64 are very
Are
fun,
so
especially the
fun.
tile one. The
Oh,
tile
I'd
one,
love
I
to play
think,
that
is cool.
online. Yeah.
Yeah, the tile.
would-
That's the only reason I care about that game getting added to NSO. Is because
That's
I
a
can
good
play the tile
point.
game online.
I
would
didn't
totally
think
play
about the
telegame
online.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
We need more NSO online games.
The thing with Kirby 64 too is it has a very weird aesthetic, even compared to Dreamland 3, which already has its own thing going on. 64 has this very like it's probably the most demented Kirby game, I think, in terms of like visual stuff that happens, like
it's
weird
dark.
enemies,
Yeah.
weird looking stuff, like like just stuff that is like kind of messed up. Dreamland 3 and 64 I think take the cake on messed up. But it's an interesting game. It's definitely not my favorite by any means, but honestly, the soundtrack for it just kind of elevates it for me
Yeah.
a lot.
I also love how it's not like three. It's not like it's a 2.5D game,
Yeah,
but I think they use the 3D really well, and
yeah,
like I think it weirdly like it's. I like how like the angles switch up, the camera angles.
It has a strangely cinematic camera for a
Yeah, like
2D
Yeah.
platformer.
it makes it feel like a 3D game even though it's not.
it's very similar to Klonoa to me in terms of
Oh
how
my,
it
and
handles
we can
that.
we'll talk about Klonoa later this year. Hopefully.
Yeah, but if you've played Klonoa and you haven't played 64, or if you've played Kirby 64 and haven't played Klonoa, those games are
Yeah, I can see
similar
that.
in how they
That's why I love them
handle
both
3D
so
space.
much.
So I guess now is probably a good time as any. Controversial Kirby takes. I know we have a few.
Hold on, I need to say my favorite Kirby
Oh,
game.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You go. You say your favorite.
I said my
Kirby game.
favorite recent memory. My favorite
Yeah,
actual
true.
Kirby game is Adventure
Adventure's
Great game.
great.
because it's
Yep.
immaculate.
It's so good.
perfect from front to back.
Yeah.
The mini games are amazing. They gave Kirby a gun on the NES, and he shoots a man when quick
Yep.
draw. The
Yeah. It's a
music is
boxing glove
amazing.
gun. It's a boxing glove gun.
All of the little intro cinematics for each level
Yeah.
are
They're so adorable,
amazing.
The introduction of copy abilities. Just
The
by
introduction
itself.
of copy abilities is great.
Music.
The bosses are all fun. There's so many
Yep.
weird bosses in that game that like the paint roller guy.
Yeah.
Like that
Yeah,
boss
apparently.
is so much fun, and it's such a unique boss, especially for the NES.
There's
Like
that
so many
mole
boss.
boss too. The bulldoze, the whatever the hell it is. It's digging through the ground.
Yep. I think that it's gorgeous. I actually think the remake is the worst. It looks like a lot worse than the NES version.
Nightmare in Dreamland.
Nightmare in Dreamland. I think it actually.
That was
I
one
love.
of my
Yeah.
first Kirby games, so I love that game, but I understand that like
Yeah.
I love the Kirby sprite in those GBA games. I think that's like one of the
adorable.
most perfect Kirby sprites they've ever
Yes,
made. But
I
the
agree.
background pixel art in the NES game is amazing. And also they have that game running on the NES is insane.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Just with
think
how
if
it
you
looks.
can the like nowadays grab that 3DS one before.
I was just
Yeah,
about to
yeah.
say
Same.
that. I was just
Yeah.
about to say, I know there's going to be an episode coming up where you guys are going to talk about
Yeah.
the 3DS eShop closing that I probably won't be on because I don't know, I won't have much to say in the way of like, you need to try this weird 3DS game that's going to go away forever. But if you can, get the 3D classic version of Kirby Adventure on the 3DS because it's
Yeah.
perfect. It has no...
Yeah.
Unless you're one of those people that like, I need authenticity. I need
Yeah.
I need it to run like an NES, because it runs better than it does on the NES.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's no lag.
There's no slowdown, and the like
frame
weird little
drops.
like left bar thing isn't there.
Also, the 3D effect on that game is really good,
Yeah.
especially when you're like running up Butter Building. It looks
Yeah.
really cool. I
would
can't say
contend. I would personally contend that 3D Kirby's Adventure is the only one out of Nintendo's line of 3D classics that's worth it, and I say that knowing full well Kid Icarus is there.
I don't love Kid Icarus one. I've tried so many times.
I don't think the 3D version of that one is particularly great, but the Kirby's Adventure is.
Yeah, Kirby pops.
the Excite Bike one is cool.
Yeah, I got it for free, so I can't complain.
Yeah, same.
But,
So yeah, that's my
yeah.
favorite Kirby game by a long shot. Honestly, I think it's
Yeah.
That's a great
You
one.
know-
That's one of in my top.
you know,
two.
I said Superstar, but yeah, I think ultimately it come back to Adventure. Its difficulty curve is so good. The game pushes
it
back
doesn't
at you.
feel like super easy like
Yeah,
some of the later
the
Kirby
the
games
game
get.
pushes back at you, adds so much, and also obviously introduction to Meta Knight is kind of a huge thing with that whole sword battle thing is there, and also probably my favorite Kirby final boss.
yeah.
I love Nightmare. His theme is so good. He's so good. Like,
And that fight is fun. It's
That
like
fight's cool,
It's
yeah.
it's like a 2D side scrolling shooter.
yeah,
And also Wow, I lost what I was gonna say. I know I said earlier that I'm pretty sure I played Adventure before I played Dreamland.
Yeah.
But in retrospect, like thinking about the progression
Hmm.
from the first game being Dreamland to what Adventure is,
Yeah,
Yeah.
insanity. And they only
it's
released like
big.
a year and a half apart or something like that.
And
Yeah.
then they were able to get like the core of Adventure like into Dreamland 2 as well on the Game Boy. So like if you
Yeah.
went from like Dreamland 1 to Dreamland 2, you'd be like, "Holy shit, how did they get this on a Game Boy?"
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a very explosive, like sequel situation.
One of the best
It's
sequels of all time, I think.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very like
Like,
Kirby's Adventure is the Mario 3 of
Yeah, it's set up.
Kirby.
It's like it's the Link to the Past.
Yeah, like it's great. Um, so I guess now I can ask you guys what your I know James has one, and I'm gonna let him start. What are your controversial Kirby takes?
Superstar is way overrated. One of the most overrated video games of all time. Spring Breeze is just Dreamland with copy abilities. Woohoo! Great. Revenge of Meta Knight has a dope song, and it's a cool scenario. It's 20 minutes long. Um, Gourmet Race, again, dope song, not even 20 minutes long. It's like 3 minutes long. Uh, Great Cave Offensive is terrible. Not a fun mode. Just period. I cannot stand trying when I go back to play Kirby's Superstar and I want 100% it. Great Cave Offensive is like, man, do I really want to do this?
Yeah,
It's
I
just
can agree
not.
on that one.
It's just not great.
Yeah,
Milky Way Wishes is very good. Marks is very good. The
yes.
fight against the RPG menus is
Oh, computer
hilarious.
virus. Yeah,
I love it. I love that stuff. It's very good. And when I say the game is overrated, I don't mean that it's bad.
yeah,
I mean
yeah,
that it's a very good game. I actually kind of think, as far as the Super Nintendo games go, I prefer Dreamland 3 just a teensy bit more.
yeah.
They're
That's what I
pretty
was expecting you to say.
they're pretty close to me. It's not like I think Dreamland 3 blows it out of the water, but Superstar doesn't have Rick or Nago. So
Does not have the animal friends.
what are we doing here,
So that
guys?
means it sucks.
Yeah.
But no, like I being a little hyperbolic there, but I do think that I think that a lot of the praise heaped onto Superstar has more to do with like, oh, they threw like 3, 4 relatively varied campaigns in there for the price of one video game. That's kind of cool, right? Yeah, it's kind of cool, but whatever. And as a disclaimer, I have not played Ultra.
Ultra adds some neat stuff
I
to Kirby Superstar.
I've
I
never
have
beaten Superstar. I should just download Ultra or buy Ultra for my DS and play that.
I have
You can
heard that Ultra does enhance the experience a lot, and maybe I
um
will make that a priority this
yeah,
year. Maybe that'll be my Kirby's anniversary game, other than
Ultra
Forgotten
Ultra
Lands.
Ultra does enhance some stuff. There's something about it that still feels off to me compared to Superstar. Um, but yeah, it does add content. The most significant is Revenge of the King, which is a Revenge of the Meta Knight style campaign, but based on Kirby Dreamland 1's extra mode. So it's like all like messed up like versions of Spring Breeze, and then they actually put Kabula back in, and
Huh?
then did this really crazy stuff in the final stage. It's very cool. It's the origin of Mass DDD, and
Right, I knew that.
yeah, it's very fun.
I didn't
And then
know
they
that he was
added
from that mode, or like a mode like that, rather.
yeah, they added Helper to Hero, which is basically like guest star mode. It's well, no, it's not like guest star mode. I'm sorry. It's basically the arena, but you play as a copy ability character, and you go through a different set of bosses. Um, they added some extra like mini games and stuff, but really the main piece of new content is Revenge of the King. And the other thing that's unfortunate about that game is that all those cool little like vignettes that play out in Kirby Superstar, like before like a campaign or whatever. They decided to make them in 3D, and they're really ugly.
Oh, I didn't know
Like,
that. That
they're
seems kind of
they're
fun, though.
extremely ugly. But it's still a very good way to play Superstar because it has all the Superstar content in it and more. So, definitely would recommend checking that out, especially for Revenge of the King. One up. What is your Kirby hot take?
I don't think I have any hot takes. Like
Damn.
my least favorite game is like Squeak Squad. I think most people agree with that.
That's one of the other. That's the other main line I haven't played.
Maybe they won't agree with that, but like I don't think saying Squeak Squad is like my least favorite Kirby will like make people like angry.
Yeah.
I think Revenge of the Gator is better than Kirby's Pinball Land.
Do you think Squeak Squad is worse than Amazing Mirror? Because Amazing
No.
Mirror is my least favorite.
Amazing
Like,
Mirror is my least favorite too.
That
So-
game. That
Mirror
game is a
is-
jumble of like decent ideas with the most frustrating like traversal I've ever
Yeah.
experienced in my life.
So yeah, on replay, I would probably agree, but the difference is that I beat Amazing Mirror and like Squeak Squad. Like, I just got to a point where like I just couldn't progress and I couldn't figure out why. And I think as I'm missing some collectibles or something.
There's I know there's like an area that opens up, I think, in Squeak Squad towards the end if you have certain treasures or something. I know that it's like pretty late game.
Yeah. So yeah, if I played them again, I might like Amazing Mirror less. But I thought it was very interesting when I played it as a kid. Having
yeah.
like an open-ish Kirby game was a neat idea.
That is probably
And I
the
like that they tried something
only.
different.
It's like the only Kirby game I do not own is Amazing Mirror. I have it on Ambassador. I tried it elsewhere and did not enjoy it. It does not make sense to me as a Metroidvania. Like it's just like James said, it's kind of like a jumble
It
of
is
different
a little
areas,
jumbly, but
and
I
the
like
most
that it tried something different.
and the most unintuitive map like imaginable.
That's
It
what I meant
makes
when I said
no sense.
when I said traversal is a nightmare. That's what I
Yeah.
meant.
Yeah.
It's just like almost untenable to me. It's very
Yeah.
funny that Master Hand is in it.
Yes.
And when you beat him, you get the ability called Smash, and it's a Smash Ball. And,
Yeah.
and that or the Smash logo. I don't think the Smash Ball existed back then.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
very funny.
And that ability shows up again in the Anniversary Collection, which we'll get to in a few minutes. But
Clay, what's your controversial take?
well, besides what James said about how Nightmare in Dreamland is bleh, because I agree with that. I think it's just that game.
I guess I just have like more Game Boy Advance nostalgia than you guys, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Might have something to do with that age gap.
Yeah, it might
Yeah.
be.
Kirby's Adventure is so well built and put together, and by giving Nightmare in Dreamland, by giving it the Superstar power system, it completely breaks that game's like difficulty.
Yeah.
Because none of the game was not built around abilities that did so much. So playing that on Game Boy Advance, it's like, yeah, it just does not have any of the tension or pushback that Adventure does. And I also just think like some of the choices they made, like there's this part that on NES that's very memorable on Butter Building where it looks like it's a 3D spinning area. In the Game Boy Advance version, it's foggy and you run across the screen and the fog goes away and the door appears.
That sucks.
And that's
it's
also
like,
why the 3D
all right.
effect on the 3D Classic looks so cool on Butter Building.
Yeah. It's just there's a lot of charm in Kirby's Adventure that Nightmare in Dreamland does not manage to replicate, and I do not think that more detail means that it's better. But my actual controversial, I don't know why this is super controversial, but I actually really enjoyed Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. Obviously people dig Canvas Curse, and I'm sure we can talk about that in a little bit, but Rainbow Curse is kind of like it uses similar mechanics to Rainbow or to Canvas Curse, but the game itself is very different. It's much more open and exploration based. and you're looking for like different secrets and stuff. And again, yeah, there are no copy abilities in Rainbow Curse, which I know hurts it for a lot of people. Um,
I
but
think
the
I think
game
it hurts
itself
it
is,
specifically for people that wanted Canvas Curse too.
yeah. If you wanted a Canvas Curse 2 from Rainbow Curse, which I think is a reasonable thing to want, it may not do it for you.
At
For
bare
me,
minimum, a reasonable thing to expect, given
yeah.
what it is.
For me, um, although I would have loved a straight Canvas Curse 2, I really enjoyed what Rainbow Curse did and how it kind of plays um, with different elements from Canvas Curse. Like one thing that's cool about Rainbow Curse is that instead of having mini game bosses, you have like actual bosses, which are fun to fight in our unique fights. The downside of which is like they get reused. um, then you don't have copy abilities, but you do have levels where Kirby does go into different transformations, and there are some really unique sequences. Like there's like Kirby as a rocket that you need to direct through an area, and like the gamepad has, you know, obviously the is what you're playing the game with. You're using the touch screen, and on the TV you see like you see a map, like an overall map of the area, the big area that you're in, and you have to kind of go through it in a certain amount of time and find the exit before the place blows up. Um, you know, it does have a neat multiplayer mechanic. It's an asynchronous multiplayer mechanic where the player 2, 3, and 4 can be a Bandana Waddle Dee, and they just use like buttons to move, whereas you're, you know, obviously you're a ball and you're on using the line to transport. But the game like has this very beautiful claymation look to it. The music is absolutely fantastic. The atmosphere is just really cool, and I think even though it's ultimately simpler than Canvas Curse in the sense that the stages are more open and a little wandering sometimes, I think it does different stuff that Canvas Curse didn't do as well, and so I think it's a fun experience in and of itself. I would recommend that anybody try it out. It is a Wii U exclusive. It does have some really cool side content too, the treasure rooms and all that fun stuff. It's a really cool game, but yeah, definitely not everybody's cup of tea.
Yeah,
But I don't think it's worth the vitriol that it gets sometimes.
I think it only gets vitriol because of Canvas Curse expectations. I
Yeah,
personally found the
yeah,
game pretty boring. I've made
yeah,
it to like the second, or no, I made it to like the third world like 2 or 3 times, trying to
yeah,
play through it, and I always just get bored. One day, I think it might click, but I don't know.
yeah. It's cool. Like they have I think it's like the Kirby. I don't know if it's a tank or what it is, but like you could like launch like flurries of missiles, um, at enemies and stuff. It's like one of the like side-scrolling stages.
I'd like to give
Um,
a
yeah.
shout out. Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
A shout out to the two composers on Rainbow Curse, because neither of they're not the typical Kirby composers, but they did a great job.
Mm,
Megumi Ohara and Shogo Sakai. Like Jun Ishikawa did not work on this game,
yeah.
and neither did Hirazuki. Oh God, what's his name?
Hirokazu Ando.
That's the name. Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's actually amazing for that game soundtrack to have been that good. I would have
Yeah.
just assumed it was the core crew.
That game's soundtrack is absolutely stellar, and what's even better is that as you go through the game and unlock stuff, there's this music player that you get, and not only do you unlock, you know, the game soundtrack, but you also they included a ton of extra remixes of Kirby themes like throughout the years,
Yeah.
um, and a lot of them are really really good, um, and they're only in that like jukebox mode. So, um,
Oh, this is cute. That was actually Megumi Ohara's first Kirby or first game to compose with HAL,
oh
and
wow,
she also did the music for Part Time UFO.
Oh, that's
hell
awesome. I
yeah,
love that
baby.
game.
Wonderful.
So I guess speaking of music, what are your guys' favorite Kirby soundtracks?
Dreamland 3. I already said it.
Yeah, you
I
already
said, I
said
said mine already too. Crystal
64.
Shards.
Yeah, it's a tough call for me. I love so many of them.
I listen to Kirby music recreationally, so
Yeah,
it's like I don't know. It's a little lot of really good Kirby songs.
I
it's
love the
tough.
like the original uh like the original like Wispy Woods fight.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
there's a
I,
lot of good music in Kirby games.
I like the boss themes in Kirby games generally. Um, and
I'm a
it's
big
hard to pick
fan.
a game.
A real big fan of that Drop It Like It's Hot gourmet race remix
Yeah, I
from
was literally just
20
thinking
from
about
like
that.
from like 17 years ago.
God, it's such a
Yeah.
great song.
Do do
The
do 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 do
Yeah.
do do when the pimp's in the crib.
Oh
Now
my
drop it like it's
God.
hot. Drop it like it's hot. That shit slaps, dude. That's
Yeah, it
a
works
good.
so
It's a
well.
good mix.
I guess for me, best music in a Kirby game is extremely difficult. I mean, Kirby Air Rides up there. That game we haven't talked about really yet, but that game soundtrack is like literally an orchestral feast. Like
Yeah, it's good.
it's so good.
I've barely heard that game because usually when I'm playing Air Ride, it's with a bunch of friends who are being loud.
Yeah,
Fair. I mean, even the Rainbow Curse one's up there for me too, just because of how varied it is and all the remixes and stuff. Robobot has so much good stuff in it. The main Robobot theme has been stuck in my head for like a week now for some reason.
I gotta play that game.
The
fun.
some of the music that they brought back on those 3DS games, like beta unused tracks or like stuff that hadn't been heard a while, like remix of the Dreamland 2 stuff, is like super cool.
Oh, that's cool.
What is your favorite? I guess instead of maybe favorite Kirby music game, but what are some of your favorite Kirby music tracks in general? Like what do you think of when you think of Kirby music?
Gourmet Race.
Yeah.
Gourmet Race.
It's impossible not to think of Gourmet Race. Okay, and I actually think it has more to do with Melee than it does to do with
Yeah.
any Kirby game, because
Yeah.
the amount of hours I've spent playing Smash Brothers in my life is probably significantly more than the amount of collective time I've put into Kirby games.
Same.
Yeah.
And
I think that
I
makes
have
sense.
finished most Kirby games. And here's the thing, man. Dreamland 64 and Melee,
Yeah.
tournament legal.
Yeah.
And
That
when
is
my
the
friends and I
only-
would play Melee, we would play on tournament legal stages because we're those kinds of people.
Boring.
Nice.
So Kirby is just a song, like Kirby music was just music you would hear frequently, and like there's no complaints from me. It was a lot
Yeah.
better. It was a lot better than the years when Animal Crossing were the was the like tournament legal stages in Smash. Not that I don't
Yeah.
like Animal Crossing music, but for a fighting
It's not
game,
very smashy.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love the menu music in like Crystal Shards as well. It's just very
Great
dreamy.
song. Great
and,
song.
very lovely.
There's a fantastic minigame theme in 64 as well, and I think everyone kind of knows what I'm talking about. Maybe not.
I'm not sure if I do.
There's a couple minigame themes in 64, but one of them is better than the rest.
And I'm telling everyone, Ripplefield 1. Go listen to
Yeah.
it. You probably haven't played Dreamland 3, and that's fine. But just listen to Ripplefield 1 and tell me that song is not perfect.
There's that what do you call it in it's you know what the song I think of for Dreamland 3 is? This is the most random song.
What?
When you enter Iceberg, World 5, it's a very short looping track. The map
Oh,
music.
the map music for World
Yeah.
5? It's okay.
It's a bop. Like when
Yeah.
it's, like when you enter that and that whole skit is playing out. I don't know what it is, but I dig it. There's good stuff, all over the place. Dark Castle, in Dreamland 2.
The final boss music in Star Allies.
Yeah.
Oh,
the
no,
final
no.
boss music
I'm sorry.
in Adventure.
Not the final boss music, but the music that plays when you fight the three nuns and the prophet
Yeah.
guy. When
Yeah.
when he takes the hood off and the beat
Yeah.
drops.
Yeah.
Whoa, okay, I was not ready. I was
Yeah.
like, what's going on in this Kirby video game?
The music in Canvas Curse in general is just really cool, fun remixes. They're very weird and eclectic in that game. Like it's got a lot of different weird sounds.
Yep.
Even like Dream Course has a great soundtrack. it's so hard to talk about Kirby music because so much of it is so
Yeah,
good.
it's a very very rich history of good tunes.
It's not just good, it's very unique. It's very identifiable as Kirby music. No other video game series, and not a lot of like regular, like, quote unquote normal music sounds like Kirby music, even electronic stuff. It's very identifiable as Kirby in a way that like most video game music isn't, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I think that the only other series that I would say that has as unique of a like sonic footprint as Kirby does is something like Pokemon, where I can like hear a song, and even if I've never heard it before, or if I don't like immediately recall where it's from, I can know like that's a Kirby song. That's a song from Pokemon.
Yeah,
those are the only two series
we
that
should
I can
do
do that with.
We should do a game like that.
There's
like a music game.
And Kirby also is a series that like it has a lot of new themes, but it does get plenty of remixes, and some of those remixes are extremely different from the original song, and you might not, even if you know the original song, you might not notice it for a while.
Well, and there's a lot of them where they like combine songs and like weave songs in and out of each other, and I don't know, it's really good.
And I mean, the Kirby Smash Bros. Brawl remixes were basically the best new music in that game. There was one of the strongest series for music in Brawl. Yeah. And I think that's for, good reason.
Yeah, nepotism.
Yeah. And personally, I like Gourmet Race 2 more than Gourmet 1. Wow. Gourmet Race 2 is just so good to me.
That's
And I think it's probably because I've heard Gourmet Race so many times over the years, and I'm like, whatever. But Gourmet 2 is really good. Not really ever talked about.
Call me when Gourmet 2 gets a Snoop Dogg remix.
Gourmet 2 is so good, though.
I'm just kidding. I'm just clowning, dude.
Don't even tell me that Gourmet 2 isn't awesome.
No, it's great.
I'm actually kind of like not super crazy about Superstar's soundtrack, mostly compared to other Kirby soundtracks. Not that it's not good, and not that it doesn't have really good stuff in it, but Gourmet 2 is one of the few tracks in that soundtrack that stands out to me as like really good.
Revenge of Meta Knight.
Yeah, that one is the other one, pretty much. And I mean Marx's theme.
Yeah, no, for me, my favorite song from Dreamland, Superstars Revenge of Meta Knight. That song is that's transcendently good.
Yeah, the Meta Knight themes in that game are fantastic. And also, I'll give a shout out to when you're fighting Nova and flying through in the side-scrolling shooter on Kirby's Star Chariot. It's kind of a neat theme going in on there. It's very different from a lot of the other stuff in that game.
There are a lot of there's a lot of really good remasters. What am I saying? There's a lot of really good rearrangements in Star Allies as well, especially in those DLC modes. There's an arrangement of Grassland 4 from Dreamland 3, actually, from the pack where they introduced GUI to the game, that is just phenomenal. Like, the first time I heard it, I almost cried. I was like, they actually care. Someone at that studio gives a shit about Dreamland 3 still.
The cave theme in Triple Deluxe, which is actually the beta music from Dreamland 2 that was unused.
Oh, wow,
very good.
Oh, I love it when games do that.
Mm-hmm.
And the circus, I don't know what else to call it, the circus music in that game as well is really good, like one of the best tracks in that game. But we could probably talk about Kirby music all day. So
it could be a 3-part episode.
Yeah, just on Kirby music.
And it would just be us, like, no critique, no nuance, just I love this stuff so much.
Next question for y'all. Favorite Kirby spin-off? Because Kirby has a lot of spin-off games. There are a lot of unique side Kirby games, and they're all very, very interesting. So,
Kirby's Dream Course.
Dream Course is great.
I love the multiplayer in that, and the single-player campaign's fun too. But it's just
that game is
such a fun versus game because you can mess each other up so much.
Yeah, I mean that game is tough.
Very fun dynamics. Yeah,
it's very hard. It's very strategic and very interesting, like how that game works. It's a very technically complicated game that I'm kind of surprised that as a kid that I even attempted, with how dumb I was as a child.
There's a lot more depth than you might think. Like, you can like put a lot of curves in the balls. There's so many different options of how to hit it.
Yeah, and like the
It's
abilities
not just like
that
it's
you
not
get.
just like point and hit.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, I'm swinging my golf club into the
Yeah,
hole.
and
Like, it's
you also
weird.
can't like the multiplayer isn't like a golf game where it's like me doing good doesn't automatically equal win
Yeah,
because someone else could fuck you over.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that game, like, you have those courses where, like, the optimal thing to do is, like, you hit the ball, or you hit Kirby, and he goes into the tornado enemy, and then you, like, activate the tornado power, and he goes across the thing. And then you hit someone, the character that gives you the high jump power, and you get that power, and then you, like, wait for the right time to do a high jump, and then you land somewhere else. Like, there's all kinds of crazy stuff going on. The UFO power that lets you, like, move in the air, like,
Yeah,
it's so weird.
Once you get all of them, someone else just rolls over the reverse button, and all your stars are gone.
I mean, putting the UFO power up in a golf game is inspired to begin with.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And it's weird how it moves, too, because it only moves in 4 directions. It's very weird to control. But, like, there are some crazy... If you look up videos of people playing Kirby Dream Course on, like, YouTube, there are so many crazy trick shots and optimal ways to go through holes in the single player. And it's a game that is not afraid to tell you to go fuck yourself. Like, I think that's probably one of the hardest Kirby games. What about you, James?
Canvas Curse, hands down.
Yeah.
I appreciate all those early Kirby spin-offs a lot. Dream Course is very good. I even like the stuff like Brick Breaker.
Oh, Kirby Block Ball.
Or Block Ball, rather. Brick Breaker,
that game's fun.
Jesus. And Tilt and Tumble, also
Tilt
fun
and Tumble's
game.
great.
Yeah.
But Canvas Curse, I think, like, as far as spin-offs go, was one of the first times I, like, really fell in love with a Kirby spin-off. Just something about the it's perfect for the DS. It's the type of game you would only ever see on that console back then.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was so unique. It was so fast-paced too. Like, but you had to work. You had to work for it in a weird way. But it was so satisfying. Like, once you're tapping on Kirby, drawing that line to get a perfect jump, tapping on Kirby, making him go fast. The way they implemented copy abilities, I thought was really cool. Because like, to me, a Kirby game is the copy abilities in a lot of ways. Like, obviously Dreamland 1 didn't have them, but
right.
They're core to the series identity after Adventure.
Yep.
It's one of the reasons the Rainbow Curse, we've litigated that already.
Yeah.
But just a lot of fun. Like, the collectibles were good. Getting all 3 medallions in each stage, like, felt good. Just a wonderful, wonderful game. It looked great.
Lots of unlockables. Lots of really interesting unlockables. Like, you can get the different character balls. Like, you can get the big fat DDD ball that
the
sucks.
big day-to-day ball. Yeah. I really like... it is really minute, but I really loved how the rainbow looked when you drew it.
Yes.
Like, it's satisfying to draw because of how it looks when you're going across the screen. I'm not an artist in any, like, way, shape, or form, and it made me feel like an effective artist the way I was drawing while I'm playing that game, and I think that's really, really fun.
It is a great touchscreen game. It's so perfect.
It's a game that wouldn't even exist in the 3DS. Like, it's literally like DS is like the only era that could exist on.
And I'm so glad that it happened. I would like to give a honorary shout out to the Kirby Puyo game.
Kirby's Avalanche.
Yeah.
Just because Kirby's an asshole in that game, and I think that's funny.
Yeah, it is really funny.
Please
I also love the
don't step on
voiceover.
my roots. And then Kirby's just like steps on him with a big ass grin on his face.
I love the voiceover in that game too, because it says all the enemies' names out loud. Bronto Burt.
I have
Wispy Woods.
I have a couple friends who also found the voice acting thing very funny, and they would constantly back and forth to each other, just be like squishy, squishy. It's good stuff.
that is some good stuff. Uh, I
Clay,
think
what's yours?
I think it's very tough. I like a lot of Kirby spin-off games. Canvas Curse is up there for me.
Well,
Tilt
you
and
got to pick a
Tumble
favorite.
is up there for me. Um, I would like to actually. I'm trying to think of all the different Kirby spin-off games
I half
over
expected
the
you to say
years.
fighters. That
I like
fighting game.
fighters. Yeah, I like fighters. DDD's Drum Dash Deluxe is beautiful on the
I'm
3DS.
surprised nobody likes Mass Effect, Mass Attack here.
Mass Effect.
Mass Effect, Mass
Yeah.
Attack
I
is
like
a
some of the
really
mini
cool
games in
game.
Mass Attack more than Mass Attack
I
itself.
Mass Attack is one of the ones I haven't played.
It's
It's clever.
a weird game, yeah. It's
I-
not bad, it's just weird. Um, and like, yeah, like there's so much good Kirby content. I guess if you could call Kirby Air Ride a spin-off game if you want. I mean,
Well,
it
it
is.
is. It
Yeah.
It
is.
is pretty much.
Would you call that your favorite?
No. Um, I really, really, really dug Kirby Blowout Blast, which is
Okay.
the
Yeah.
last the other sort of 3D Kirby game, and ostensibly what that game is a 3D remake of Kirby's Dreamland, in the sense of it has the same bosses, doesn't have the same like visuals, but like it's basically a retelling of Dreamland, that game's combo gameplay is so satisfying because each level you can get a perfect in, score wise. There's medals like a lot of other Kirby games. There's like bronze, silver, gold, and platinum medals, and if you go through that stage, you have to not get hit. You have to like you'll suck in certain enemies and like shoot them at lines of other enemies, and it causes like a score like multiplier to happen. Um, and you kind of wander from like different areas. It's not entirely just battle arenas, because in Planet Robobot there is a side game that is I can't remember what it's called, but
Rumble or something like that.
yeah, like 3D Rumble.
Yeah.
And that
That's the one
game
I
is
played.
pretty much just battle arenas. Like it's 3 stages of battle arenas. This game is much more than that, because you are actually traversing stuff too. It's not the main focus, of course, um, but yeah, like each area basically represents one stage in Dreamland 1, and there are multiple stages and then a boss. And then after you do all of this, right, and you beat, you finish the game's like, haha, by the way, here's extra mode. And extra mode is just another like set of enemy layouts and levels again, and they're much harder. And that's how you kind of get the true ending, is by going through extra mode. So it's actually pretty like beefy for what it is. It's like a $7 game.
Being real with
Um,
you,
I should grab that game.
I had no idea that's what that game was.
Yeah, it's more puzzle and combo based than straight action. Like it is an action game, but it's about a lot about timing and aiming, and finding the optimal like way to kill the most enemies for the most points. Um, it's super fun. It's super simple and super fun. So I guess I would say that's one of the most recent spin-offs. That's my favorite. Dream Course is another big one for me, but that and DDD's Drum Dash Deluxe I would recommend to people. If you like Kirby music, DDD Drum Dash
Yeah.
Deluxe is like 8 tracks.
Is that
I
a
think.
rhythm game?
It is.
Okay, that's cool.
It's a very fun, simple rhythm game. You bounce off a drum, you can clap in the air. You also are controlling your forward and backward movement. It's a very weird kind of rhythm game, but it's very fun. And it has some of the music from Triple Deluxe in it, since it's from that game. I just remember like the circus music in that game, playing it in the DDD Drum Dash. I can't remember if that's in the Drum Dash mini game in Triple Deluxe or if it's in the separate game, but it's worth if you played Drum Dash just in Triple Deluxe, it's worth getting the standalone one because it's different songs and more of them. And it's very satisfying to get the platinum medals and stuff.
I'll have to get that because I do love me rhythm games and I do love me Kirby music.
I would like both
Yeah.
of those games. They both sound really cool. I was like ignored those like spin-offs. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, they're just like the mini games but standalone. Okay.
Yeah, they're much expanded. Like even Kirby Fighters on the 3DS now, that's kind of obsoleted now by Kirby Fighters 2. But
I just I don't know.
it-
For
it was
the
a
fighters
big
demo
expanded.
didn't do much for me.
Yeah, I can understand that one not being everybody's
I
cup.
bought Fighters 2, and I still haven't booted it, but I would love to. I
It's
think
fun.
it looks like it's fun.
It's stupid. It's Gooey is like probably the best character in the game. Like, it's kind of ridiculous how much Gooey kicks everyone's ass.
That kind of sucks. Now I don't want to play it.
No, it's great because he flies like a dark matter and shoots dark matter lightning beams.
Oh, never mind. If he's like representing like Zero, then
He
that's
represents
cool.
he represents more like it's what you would expect.
Well,
for how he
Zero
moves.
1, right? From from Dreamland
yeah.
3, not 02. From
Yeah, he has a lot of different moves that represent Gooey through his appearances, and it's a very fun game. So I guess
you
go
want
ahead.
to do a quick lightning round here that I've been thinking about.
Yeah, let's do it.
Three question lightning round. Not a lot of explanation, just a quick answer.
Okay.
Favorite copy ability?
Beam.
Fighter.
UFO. Favorite recurring boss?
The little electric cloud guy.
Krako. Krako's mine too.
Yeah.
Man,
also,
I know
beam's not even my favorite power. I don't know why I said beam. But
this is
that's
a
what I said.
this is a basic bitch answer, but man, I love King DDD so much.
I love him
glad.
too. I love
Love him.
DDD because he's not a bad guy. He's just stupid.
He's just a douche.
And his
stupid.
and his stupid hedonistic ways get in the way of things sometimes. But he was right in Kirby's Adventure. He was trying to protect Dreamland, and Kirby didn't realize it. And then they get to the end, and Day-Day's like, "Fine, fuck it. Take the Star Rod, kill the god, and we'll get back to normal." Last question. Happy Japanese Kirby box art, angry American Kirby box art.
Happy Japanese Kirby.
Yeah, me too. Damn, I was hoping one of you would go with angry.
I like the mad ones. I don't dislike them.
They're so dumb.
I think it's funny seeing Kirby so angry, but the happy Kirby is just so cute.
That was my 3-question lightning round. Thank you for indulging.
I think my favorite power is not actually beam. I think it's like sword or something.
Yeah,
that's a real basic answer.
I know.
Fighter,
That's why I
is
said
basic
beam.
too. Fighter is so basic too, though.
Yeah.
It's like everyone wants to do Hadokens as Kirby. Like,
The beam is cool.
I'm stuck between UFO and Suplex because I like it weird.
Suplex is cool.
I like Wheel a lot. I think Wheel is one of my favorites.
I do love
fun to go fast.
I do love the Wheelie Rider in Superstar. That's just fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
Hammer is great too. Hammer's so much
a good
fun.
one. Yeah.
So I guess before we wrap up here, my last question for you guys: what are your hopes for Kirby's 30th anniversary this year? They said they're doing multiple projects. We got a great Kirby collection for the 20th anniversary.
I would like an expanded port of that collection.
Yeah, you want Kirby Dream Collection again?
Yeah, because with a few more games added to it, but I didn't get that collection and I regretted it.
Well,
It's really good.
The thing is, I don't think we would need an expanded version of it since so many of those games are on NSO, and
Yeah.
So if they were gonna put another collection out, I guess it would be cool if it was the GBA and DS games, I guess, or maybe if they wanted to remaster Return to Dreamland.
Return to Dreamland, Triple Deluxe, and Robobot would be a fantastic package.
That would be a dope package.
Yeah.
I
That's
think
what
it
I
would,
want.
I would like, and this is a deep cut for all you nerds out there, and I know you're listening. I want a third Kirby Cafe soundtrack.
Hell yeah.
Give me another disc full of those Kirby Cafe remixes. Because I can't go to Japan right now for multiple reasons. It's expensive and there's COVID.
For multiple reasons. Yeah.
So I can't go over there and eat those delicious little Waddle Dee rice balls. But I can listen to the music and pretend.
I've never heard that music
and eat your
I really
normal.
want to.
Eat my normal.
Eat your normal rice balls.
Yeah.
Normal rice balls are just like he just cooks rice and just like smashes them into little balls.
Yeah, but no, that's an actual genuine hope. I would love to have a third Kirby Cafe soundtrack because those Kirby Cafe soundtracks are really good, and they didn't come up when we talked about music, and I feel bad not mentioning them. But
I need to hear them.
And
they're
I think
excellent.
mine besides my main one is like Return of Dreamland plus Triple Deluxe plus Robobot all together.
That would be a wild
But
package.
one of my secondary hopes is that Tilt and Tumble somehow gets a re-release
Oh yeah.
in some way, so I do not
Make
have to
Game
play
Boy
it.
NSO happen.
So I don't have to calibrate the game upside down to make it work on an SP.
Why
And
don't you just not play on an SP?
because it's just SP is just convenient, you know.
You could
that
get an analog pocket.
I
Yeah,
could
for
I
like
could
$500.
That would just be my Kirby machine, yeah. That and something fun that they did for the Dream Collection is they added more special challenge stages with abilities from Return to Dreamland in them, and even some that aren't. And I would love to see like if they did a thing where there were like different 3D levels based on the Forgotten Land engine, based on different Kirby games of the past.
That'd be cool.
Like,
That'd be cool.
and lastly, I still want my Kirby Game and Watch, so I still want it.
Oh yeah,
what I want.
that might actually happen.
I
think
want it.
Of all the things that
I
we've
could see
talked
it.
about, like as far as hoping, that sounds like the most
Yeah.
likely thing to happen. But I mean, I'm sure there'll be a ton of merchandise. Like, there's going to be a 30-foot
Oh,
tall
yeah.
Kirby pillow that you can like, mouth wide
Climb
open, climb into
Yeah.
it.
Climb in and die.
Never come out.
Me. Yeah, Hal celebrates Kirby anniversaries really great. I still think that Kirby, out of all the Nintendo series that get anniversary celebrations, Kirby's the one that like gets the best anniversary.
I think
Stuff.
Pokemon does, but
Pokemon does too, but Kirby's up there.
yeah, well, yeah. I
Um,
mean, Kirby has its own company, right? That like manages
Warp
the
Star.
brand Warp Star. That's
Yep, just like Pokemon
relatively
Company.
that's unusual for Nintendo properties.
Oh, that's cute. I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was formed for when they made the anime. They 50% Nintendo owned, 50% HAL owned, and they handle all the merchandise, and they handle the Kirby cafes, stuff like that.
they should just
So-
put that anime on NSO. It's like a free
Yeah, well,
perk. Like, you can watch it. Like, they have that Pokemon anime streaming channel, right?
They
on
had
the shop.
they had the Kirby TV channel in Europe on Wii, which was 4 episodes of the anime uploaded every week until all of them were uploaded, and you can watch them whenever.
Do we mean
That
Kirby
anime-
right back at you? Is that the anime?
That anime is weird as hell. If you've never seen it,
So weird.
Day to Day has a weird accent.
He's a
like,
Texan dude.
I'll get
Yeah.
you,
yeah,
Kirby.
yeah.
and Meta Knight is like Spanish.
Yeah.
It
Poor
kinda-
little
it-
snail.
Yeah, and that's it.
Yeah.
You mean Day to Day's wool husband? It kind of rules. It's not
It's
a great.
weird.
It's not a great show or anything, but if you're a big Kirby fan, it's surreal to watch.
I won a code for
Pollo.
the 3D episode of Kirby Right Back at Ya on the 3DS years ago. It's one of my favorite little things to have.
Prize
Because they
possessions.
like I don't know if it's the finale or it's the 100th episode. It was in 3D.
I can't
And
believe
they put it out
made-
on Nintendo Video.
There was
and then-
100 episodes of that thing.
I don't remember if it was 100. I feel like it's not, but like
I thought there was like 20.
there's a there's a lot
No.
more that we did. I don't think
Wow.
they stopped localizing after a while. I think.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I don't
No,
remember.
I think
it's
they-
kind of like
I think they localized the whole
maybe
thing.
maybe they did. I don't know. There's a lot more episodes than you would think there are, though.
Kirby
that
right
that
back.
that one where they make a cartoon is really funny.
There are
I
exactly
always remember that one.
exactly 100
Wow.
episodes.
Oh, it probably would have been 3 seasons of like what 20 something
It's
episodes.
four seasons of 25,
Oh,
I
wow.
think.
Yeah, but yeah, that's a rare thing on 3DS. I don't know if you can get that anymore, but it's super cool. It's my favorite Kirby thing. So, all right, well, we can go on about Kirby forever.
Just
Kirby
kind of a
merchandise, Kirby
crazy
games, Kirby
side note.
anniversary.
That Kirby anime was actually produced by Iwata. Like, his name is on
Oh,
that
wow.
show.
Oh, I know Sakurai worked on that anime too.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
it's supposed that is like Kirby canon. that
It's so funny. I know it's an anime, but like because I saw it like before I knew what anime was really.
yeah.
Like it just doesn't seem like an anime to me. It just
No.
seems like
what you're saying is there's no big titty girl with like fucking light socket eyes. That's
Yeah,
like,
the cheetah
that's
girl.
the-
The cheetah girl's not.
Yeah, it's like there's no one in the show that makes you like looking over your shoulder like, are the FBI coming in? No, okay.
Yeah. No.
It can't be an
No.
anime if I don't feel like I'm doing something skeevy.
Yeah. But yeah, we could talk about this stuff for an eternity because there's so much to Kirby. We didn't even talk about Kirby lore. Like
Yeah,
let's not, because that'll
I would
take
like to
another
go to
3 hours.
sleep.
Yeah, that would take another 3 hours.
Yeah, if you want to have an
Um,
extensive Kirby lore episode where we get into the real deep shit, I'm down, but not tonight.
I'm super down too. Yeah, not today. But yeah, get your Kirby merch, your soundtracks, your plushies. I know my 12-inch DDD is locked in my attic somewhere, which is very unfortunate.
DDD's locked into
damn.
his attic.
Celebrate 30 years of Pink Puff.
I didn't know you had a 12-inch DDD.
Oh yeah, baby, I do.
God.
On that note, you can find us on Spotify, you can find us on YouTube, you can find us on Stitcher, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, and there's about 1 billion more from where those came from.
Maybe video podcast soon.
Maybe video podcast soon, yeah. If you
not like our faces, but just like
a video
might
version
be on
of
like,
it.
Spotify or something.
Yeah, that's a thing recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you enjoy what you have heard, please consider following us on whatever platform you particularly care
give
for.
us 5 stars. I think we're a 5-star podcast, but that's for you to decide.
Let's not
Rob
oversell
Zagney
it.
Says.
Let's not oversell it. We are at least 4 Kirbys out of 5, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
4
I think we're like a
stars.
3.5-star podcast.
We are a Maxim, 4 Maxim tomatoes, whatever. We also have a blog that is in a state of undeath. Although we might have some stuff come to that soon. I haven't told you guys about that yet. So
that's exciting.
keep an eye on that. That's nintendopipeline.wordpress.com, which also features a link to our Discord server, which you're probably in if you're listening to this. That is.
But if you're not, get on over here. We're a fun group of people. We like having fun.
We like Kirby, so there's that. Discord.gg/Nintendo Pipeline is the invite for that. And yeah, that about wraps it up. Thanks everybody for chatting about Kirby today, and we will see you again next week. Peace.
Yeah, thank you so much. Have a great night.
Bye. That was my Kirby impression.
Poyo.
Oh God! All right, cut.